Hello, do you remember me? I used to post on this account before I suffered from extreme burnout and decided I needed to take a little break. Just for context sake, my job for the past year has been a 6 days a week affair, and it's basically been 3 jobs in one, different schedule every single week, and it made it very difficult for me to post content consistently, at least content I was proud of. And so I'm back. I don't have to work weekends anymore. Very exciting for a host of reasons, but one of them is that I get to come back and do videos that I love doing. So I wish I could tell you that I was off doing something noble, rescuing sea turtles or climbing Everest, finally learning how to fold a fitted sheet, something like that. But mostly I was just trying to function like a normal person. Anyways, I've missed this. I've missed you guys. I've missed making videos, and I've missed talking Bravo with you guys the most because that's kind of the most fun that we have here. It's strange how quickly you can slip out of a habit, but then how hard it is to climb back in. So go easy on me. Give me grace. If you're new here, welcome. A lot more Bravo news is coming out, so I'm sure this channel is going to be chock full of it. But if you're an old friend returning, I'm very sorry I left you hanging, and I promise to do better this time, or to at least be a little bit more dramatic if I disappear again. So, shall we begin? Let's just start by getting into probably what you clicked on the video for this week's biggest news in the Bravo-verse, which is Dr. Wendy Osefo's arrest, as well as her husband Eddie Osefo, for 16 charges, 7 of which are felonies, basically all criminal fraud charges. First of all, those of you who have seen my most popular video on my channel, which is my most and least favorite housewife from every franchise, know that I listed Wendy as my least favorite housewife from Potomac long before this news ever hit the timeline. We've never been spiritually aligned, Wendy and myself, so allow me one little moment of pettiness to say, I told you so. There's no joy in it. Maybe a little joy. But mostly it's just the satisfaction of being right in a world that so often refuses you that pleasure. So let me just revel in it for like 2 seconds. I was right. We'll begin with just the headline of it. Wendy Osefo, Dr. Wendy, indicted on 7 counts of insurance fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and 1 count of lying to the police. That's a total of 16 criminal counts. I'm looking at the numbers right now, which is several more than most people encounter in a lifetime, unless they're like a Bond villain or a Real Housewife. But it's also double the amount of counts that Karen was facing last season. The gist of the charges are this. Wendy and her husband, Happy Eddie, reported a dramatic burglary while they were away in Jamaica. And when they returned home on April 7th, 2024, they claimed their bedrooms and closets had been ransacked and that designer handbags and jewelry were gone.
I forgot that in April, your home was broken into or something. Was this during filming that this happened?
I think it was right before.
Okay.
Like, literally before
Oh,
camp went up. It happened because my family was away on spring break. It was our spring break trip with the kiddos. And I was just so heartbroken. Like, I think a few of my first initial scenes, I'm just a little bit uneasy because we had just been
yeah.
violated, so to speak. It was the worst thing. It's so unexpected, especially since from my vantage point and from the investigators' vantage point, it was targeted, you know.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've lived in this neighborhood for, a long time, but since the neighborhood has been in inception for over 20 years, there has been no burglary.
Yeah.
Like nothing. And so it's so heartbreaking. And again, like going back to my earlier statement, where at my core, what centers me is motherhood. My first thought was my kids. And,
Hmm.
part of the reason why I live where I live is for their safety, for them to have ample, acres to be able to run, play, enjoy, free of anything. And when someone comes into your home, which is such a sacred space, and violates you in that way, you start questioning things. So I'm just glad that we are okay, we're safe, and we
Yeah.
are able to move forward from that as a family. But man, that was definitely gut-wrenching.
And
Absolutely.
that's something you have to process too. That's not
Yeah.
something that you just, okay, it happened. We've locked the house back down. No, like I think the mental recovery from something like that must be kind of difficult.
Absolutely. And now my house is like Fort Knox before, but now it's like complete Fort Knox, like nothing. Even how we vacation is different. How I post on social media is different.
Mm-hmm.
It's altered the way I move. And, you want to be naive and feel like no one is watching you. You could just live life freely. But unfortunately, that is not the case. So it has
Mm-hmm.
changed a lot of things.
Only, here's where things begin to wobble. Investigators found the supposed point of entry was a second floor bathroom window with no signs of forced entry and a perfectly undisturbed toilet lid beneath it, which is, insane. Apparently this phantom burglar knew better than to smudge the porcelain. I don't know. But they were basically suspicious of them from the get because they reported a burglary in their house, had zero signs of forced entry, and wasn't messed up at all. Then the day after, on April 8th, the Osefos filed 3 separate insurance claims with 3 separate companies: Travelers, Jewelers Mutual, and Homesite. Now, this is a problem because you can't actually file separate insurance claims for the same item with different companies. That is fraud. They were seeking hundreds of thousands of dollars for their losses, and we'll get to why losses is in quotes in a little bit. But Eddie gave a recorded statement and denied anything on the stolen items list had been returned. So 1 count lying to an officer, but we'll get to that. What he did not mention to 2 of those insurances was that he was simultaneously filing a claim with the 3rd insurance company. Whoopsie. So by April 10th, he'd updated one of the claims to say that Wendy's gold diamond anniversary band was missing as well and must have been taken in this supposed burglary. And that same day, the Travelers Insurance Company settled one of the claims for $25,000, $380, including $4,500 for that ring specifically. A day later, they also signed a statement that listed 57 total stolen items, which came to a grand total of $50,000. For those of you who aren't keeping track, they basically filed insurance claims for close to $500,000. Unfortunately for them, however, receipts showed that many of the items had already been returned for refunds well before this alleged burglary took place. Among them was like a Dior shirt that Wendy had returned in January of 2023 and gotten a refund for, as well as a Gucci wallet that was bought in 2018 and was returned 2 weeks later. And all of this had been returned to the store, again, for a refund long before this alleged burglary happened, but they still listed those items as stolen at the time of the burglary. So a thrifty burglar indeed. This is, in my opinion, the truly chef's kiss Real Housewives part, is that detectives found a photo of Wendy after the reported burglary dated April 27th, 2024. So didn't even have the decency to wait a month after this fake burglary, wearing the diamond anniversary ring that she had claimed was stolen in a photograph on her Instagram page. This is the same ring that had been photographed for appraisal before the burglary. So then that's another red flag, as they went to get the ring appraised to see how much they could get for it if they got rid of it. But if that wasn't enough, the final nail in the coffin, I believe, is that the emails showed that Eddie asked Wendy if there were, quote, any additional high value items they could add to their list to reach the $423,000 policy maximum. So that's something that you ask when you're getting dessert and not committing felony insurance fraud. Hey, should we add anything? Yeah, maybe we'll get brownie instead. Not, do you have any other items that you have purchased in the past 20 years that we can pretend was stolen? Anyway, they at that point had enough for a search warrant, search and seizure of the home. And when they searched their home, they found at least 15 of those claimed stolen items still in the home. So you add in this other discovery, which came after the search and seizure, which is that Wendy and Eddie were in substantial debt. We don't know with whom or what the circumstances of the debt are. It might be student loan debt from those 4 goddamn degrees, because I'll tell you something. I have my student loans with Sally Mae, and if I were living in a remote tropic island in the Bahamas under an assumed name, I'd still be getting those bills. So it might be them coming to kneecap them. I don't know. But apparently they were in substantial debt, I'm guessing from the 90 degrees, and they were able to put the puzzles together, prosecutors, pretty quickly, that this was a scheme for quick financial gain disguised as a home burglary. And then obviously no Real Housewives scandal is ever going to be complete without a chorus of reactions. This one definitely did not disappoint. First of all, Candiace Dillard Bassett was on live TV to promote her new podcast when the news came in that the Osefos' arrest had taken place. She was on Good Day DC. I'm going to insert the clip. Do not worry.
Real Housewives of Potomac star Dr. Wendy Osefo and her husband Eddie have been booked for criminal fraud charges. It's literally just into our newsroom. The star is facing 16 charges, including 7 felonies. Osefo has been charged with falsely misleading info. Candiace, what are you thinking?
I am floored. I am shocked. I'm sad. And I'm heartbroken. Like I have chill. I'm shaking because we're just finding this. I can't imagine. She never let on that anything was wrong. I know Eddie and Chris were just speaking via text. So I'm shocked.
Imagine you have come to promote your new podcast and you find out that your closest ally on the show and your friend is now facing 16 charges, 7 of them felonies. She said she was floored, she was shocked, she was sad. I think that people need to give Candiace a little more grace because people are clowning on her because she was like over $300 and obviously the charges in excess of $300. But if you're learning about it in the moment, you don't know anything yet, I could totally understand making that mistake. I also think that her assertion that maybe after Karen there's targeting going on or something like that is a little foolish. But I also understand that if you are, one of the 2 Black franchises on Bravo for Real Housewives, it's not unreasonable to assume, especially in the Trump administration, maybe the DOJ is targeting the Black housewives. Do I think that's what was happening here? No. I think they committed $500,000 worth of insurance fraud. But I don't blame Candiace for having that reaction, is what I'm saying. Just give her some grace. She was finding out about it in the moment. And frankly, for somebody who was finding out about it on live television, I thought her response was quite articulate, graceful, and poised. So that's my opinion on that. But then, she invoked Karen's legal woes and all of that. And, I know that she's heartbroken because she's close to the family. I know she'll be very supportive. And it was around that time that the Osefos themselves actually ended up releasing a statement. They said they were back home safely and in good spirits. Bullshit. They expressed gratitude for the outpouring of support. I don't know where that was. I didn't see it, but I'm sure they found it somewhere. And they look forward to their, quote, day in court. They also requested privacy at this time, which in Housewives land is roughly as realistic as requesting silence in a preschool lunchroom. You're not going to get it. You've been on the Housewives. Your life is tabloid fodder. It's I'm sorry, we're not going to get privacy, queens. But yes, it was a very calm, composed statement. I'm sure behind the scenes they're freaking out, but what else can you say? And then Ashley Darby decided to jump in. She was giving another off-key performance in Mr. Henry's Washington, D.C. She said, quote, and I'm not going to sing it because I'm not going to do the disservice, but we're making melodies, not felonies, before following it up with Zen Wen is in the pen. Now, it makes you cringe, but it makes you cackle. It's tasteless and it's clever. I'm sure that Giselle is having a t-shirt printed as we speak that says Free Happy Eddie. My thoughts on all of this is, let's be honest, this story would not be echoing through the Bravoverse with such thunder if the Osefos, and Wendy in particular, hadn't spent years building this marble pedestal from which to talk down to the other women. And from the moment she arrived in that first season, she was like, I have 4 degrees, address me as such, I'm Dr. Wendy, I'm on MSNBC. And she literally ended last season with a visit to the White House interviewing the press secretary, and she had a candle brand. I guess we were all supposed to believe that candle brand was turning some sort of a profit. I never thought it was, but I digress. This kind of relentless self-branding that she did on the show as Dr. Wendy, 4 Degrees Wendy, the insistence on superiority at every turn, something that I got into quite heavily in my most and least favorite Housewives video, creates this very specific kind of schadenfreude when that facade does finally crack. And crack it has, because I think it's one thing to lecture your castmates about your education and your class and your morality, but it's another thing to do it while you're also charging everything to a credit card being funded by your own fraud. I think she is hypocrisy on a payment plan, and she should have to answer for the giant chasm between who she has portrayed herself to be and who she's actually been behind the scenes. If she skips out on the reunion, I'm going to be fucking pissed, and I don't think she should ever get her flute back, because it's time to face the music, especially the way that you jumped down Mia's throat for the same thing, and Mia's wasn't half as bad. I think Mia genuinely was trying to show her life. I think she was like a bit of a mess, but this is way worse than anything Mia ever did. Like, I need Wendy to answer for her crimes, not just in a court of law, but in front of a camera with Andy, period. I also will say, like, I know we're all kind of enjoying our popcorn because Wendy has spent, the last 5, however many seasons being like, I'm better than you and I'm the authority on everything, just to come crashing down and find out that she's a literal criminal. But the people that I do feel bad for are the kids. Her kids are wonderful. And we've seen already firsthand the toll that something like this, when both parents are involved, can take on the kids. With Teresa and Joe Giudice, my hope is that I don't see a version of this playing out where they avoid jail time. I just don't. It's double the amount of counts that Karen had. It's no joke. It's 7 felonies. I don't see a version of this where they avoid jail. And so for me, I really am hoping that they are able to work out a deal the way Teresa and Joe did, where they're not serving their respective sentences simultaneously. I hope they can do it kind of in succession so that the kids aren't, without their mom and dad at the same time. So I really am actually sending love to her kids, and I hope that they're able to work out a deal that the kids can be shielded from as much harm as possible. As for Eddie, who is clearly just an equal part of this, he's an attorney, so he has to know what's coming. I think, as I said, it's very hard to imagine a version of this story that doesn't end in an orange jumpsuit. Sorry. Anyways, moving on. The other big story for me this week, while Potomac is becoming RHOP, the Real Housewives of Prison, is that New Jersey has been flirting with something equally as shocking: emotional growth, ? So after years, decades in Bravo time, of swearing she would, quote, never, and I'm putting that in quotes, never, because she said never about 1 million times, reconcile with Joe Gorga and Melissa Gorga, Teresa Giudice has decided that never has an expiration date. So on the October 9th episode of the I Do podcast, it was part 2 of her interview, Teresa actually revealed that she reached out to Joe and Melissa. She said, quote, time does heal all wounds, and I want to be a good example to my children. I guess she's decided to start now. I feel like Godzilla has decided to take up yoga a little bit, but we'll move on. Teresa says that the change of heart was prompted by bonding with her daughter Gia while filming the show Special Forces on Fox, which, if you haven't seen it, is basically like a bunch of reality TV stars doing military-style boot camp. I guess nothing brings perspective like army crawling through mud. Who knows? She now wants to, quote, be the bigger person and, quote, leave the past in the past. Very admirable words, though they ring a little hollow. We'll get into it.
Well, my brother and my sister-in-law, I'm not speaking to, but I did reach out and I said, because time does heal all wounds. And, when time goes by, you forget things. So I'm just like, Gia and I were on Special Forces. We spent a lot of time before we actually started Special Forces, and we talked a lot about a lot of things. So I want to be a good example for my children. Okay. I have 4 daughters, and like, I don't want them to ever say, I always tell them, like, I always want you guys to get along. Please, always be there for each other. I know you guys are going to marry other people, but always put your sister first. Or not first, but like, always don't forget about your sister. Like,
it's family.
Be a family. Be a beautiful family. Like, if someone doesn't get along, just be the bigger person. Try to make it work, blah, blah, blah. So I can't, I got to practice what I preach, right? So that's why with my brother, I reached out to him. And I mean, I put it out there, and because the only reason why I put it out there is Jeff Lewis asked me. So that's how the conversation started. So now I'm like, you know what? Never say never. Because before I was just like, absolutely not. I'm Italian. I'm like very stubborn. I'm like, it's never going to happen. But now, after like, time, it's been over. I would say my brother hasn't really been in my life. We've been married 3 years, but the drama started even before that. So
Melissa was asked about this change of tone at the virtual reality event and seemed genuinely baffled by the olive branch, which I would be too, pointing out that, quote, the door has been closed for more than a year and neither side has spoken to each other in more than 2.
I mean, just very quickly, Teresa did recently say that she's open to a reconciliation and maybe open to filming again with you. What's your reaction there?
That's the reaction. Okay. No, I want to answer your question. I'm not going to leave you hanging, but so
it was shocking to hear.
I was shocked to hear it.
Stop! I'm trying to be serious. So no, seriously.
Why are you about to laugh?
I have an answer for this because I had a feeling you were going to ask this question, and the truth is, for the last year, the door has been closed. It, has said out loud on multiple platforms, podcasts, whatever it might be, that the door is closed. So the truth is, I'm just confused why it might be opening or cracking a little bit. And is it the timing? Well, what's going on here? So my guess is as good as yours. This is the first, I think that's something new and something different. Neither of us have had any contact in probably 2 years at this point. Wow. Right? Sad but true.
Yeah.
So that's just so strange to just come out with that out of nowhere, and it's strange. But leave it to Jeff Lewis.
Oh, Jeff Lewis will get it out of anybody. Yeah. But I know I kind of was like, okay, I was assuming, okay, Teresa's reading the same headlines we are, and is kind of like, okay, this is if things could fall in a certain way, I would still want to be following there.
What happened? Yeah.
Well,
no, the truth is, it's just weird. Come on.
Weird.
Right.
Yeah.
If it was authentic and things were happening and there was talks or happy birthday, there's zero. So it doesn't make really a lot of sense to me.
Teresa does point out, in fairness, in her interview, that them not coming to her wedding was kind of the breaking point where they completely stopped communication, which I think Joe and Melissa should have gone to her wedding. I think that was a mistake not to go. I'm trying to save my opinions to the end, and it's just really difficult. So stick with me. Melissa's pretty baffled. Apparently, according to Teresa, Joe has responded warmly to the idea of meeting up and making amends. He probably misses his family and his sister. Both their parents have passed away at this point. Outside of, their children, they're the only blood family that they have left, and so I can imagine for both of them it would be important to sort of mend that bridge and heal the wounds. I'm just going to say this because now we'll get into my opinions now. I think in order to be the bigger person, you have to have first not been the problem the entire time. And I've been around this block. You guys know Jersey is my favorite franchise. I've been around this block so long, I know all the potholes by name. I was floored by the sudden whiplash of, for the last 2 seasons of Jersey. First of all, in that season 13 reunion when Teresa goes, I can't wait to leave today and never see you again. And then she came back and looked like a fool because, of course, Melissa was brought back. And of course, she had to see her again. I think Teresa genuinely thought she had the power to fire and hire. At the end of season 13, she was like, you're not coming back. Bye. And then Melissa immediately was back in season 14. And then spent the entirety of season 14, the reunion, and every podcast interview after that being like, never, 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 I'm never speaking to them again. That door is closed. That chapter's over, like whatever. And then now all of a sudden in the past month or so has changed her tone to olive branches and quote, time heals all wounds and never say never and like blah, blah, blah. To me, this is all about timing. So I think the minute that whispers surfaced that Bravo was doing test filming without her persona went from avenging sister to like forgiving matriarch. And that confirms 2 things for me. Either, 1, the test filming rumor is true and Teresa was not asked back, or 2, Teresa was asked back under the stipulation that you have to make up with your brother and Melissa because we're not getting rid of them. So I think that Teresa can spin this however she would like. She can talk about personal growth and special forces and the epiphany she got from that show. I think it's important to point out that she quit special forces in week 2 and the only other person with less follow through lately is Brittany Cartwright, so that's not really saying much. The real motivators here to me are a little bit more mundane than some sort of, heavenly epiphany that came from special forces and spending time with her eldest. I think the real motivator is that your husband was hit with a $3 million tax lien and the very real possibility that Real Housewives is still her biggest paycheck. As of the most recent season filming, Teresa makes 7 figures from each episode because she is an OG and she's been there the longest, and like rightfully so. But she's not getting that paycheck doing House of Villains. She's not getting that paycheck doing Special Forces. And so if they're going to pay back all of the money that Louis allegedly owes the government in back taxes, as well as all of the vendors who were not paid for his app launch event, as well as all of the employees from that company who allege that they weren't paid. They owe a lot of people a lot of money. Or I should clarify, Louis owes a lot of people a lot of money. It seems like Teresa's keeping her side of the street clean and she's dating another bum, which is to surprise of absolutely no one. But he owes a lot of people a lot of money. She's not going to divorce him, so his debt is now her debt, and so she needs to be back on Real Housewives to start cleaning up his side of the street. My unsolicited advice to you, Teresa, is to come back with your tail between your legs. I know that's probably like a completely foreign concept. It means come back and know that you were in the wrong. I would say stop punishing your brother for loving his wife more than he loves you. That is the normal order of operations for the rest of the world. It's not an Italian thing. It's not like no, he's supposed to love his wife more than he loves you. That's very normal. I would also say stop trying to make Melissa the villain because the audience happened to love her as well, and that if she leaves the show, you would lose half your audience. Like, you can say as much as you want, I'm the OG, I'm the show is nothing without me, and her fans can say the same thing, but the fact of the matter is that the audience is completely split 50-50. If they got rid of Melissa, half the audience would leave, and if they got rid of Teresa, half of the audience is going to leave. Like, it does, like, there's no winners or losers. The fact of the matter is they have basically the same amount of loyalty and audience on both sides, and that's why Bravo is stuck and needs them both. And so stop punishing Melissa for that fact. The audience happens to love her. It's fine. Just leave her alone. You still have your legendary OG title. She's not coming for that. I would also say if she wants to stick around, she really needs to lean into this like light-hearted, fun Teresa that we all root for. Like, this is the thing that's so frustrating to me is, like, again, Jersey is my favorite franchise. Teresa is an amazing housewife. I have so much respect and love for her. I think that she has shown her life, warts and all, on camera for like 14, 15 years. I can't even begin to tell you how many moments of hers I love and think are incredible Housewives moments. She does so much good for the franchise, for the network, but in these last few seasons, it's been an impossible watch because of her own stubbornness, because of her own lack of character growth, because of her own ignorance. It's just been an exhausting watch. And so I'm like, please come back and be the old Teresa that we love, that we're rooting for, that's fun, that's lighthearted. Don't take everything so seriously. Don't take everything as a personal attack, because it's not. And hopefully we'll have a show. I'm hoping they announce at BravoCon. Who knows? There you have it. So those are the two big updates I wanted to chat with you guys about. We have Potomac's alleged criminal masterminds and the Jersey would-be peacemakers. Also, did you guys catch that clip of Danielle being like, at the VMAs, being like, oh yeah, Jersey fans are not going to be disappointed. I feel like she's coming back. Like, they can't say anything, but I feel like Danielle's coming back. And good for her, because it would be very stupid to not bring her back.
All right, Danielle, so is this your first VMA or have you come in?
No, my first VMA, and I'm dying inside. I've always wanted to come.
What are you most excited to see?
And you know what? This is my favorite part. I don't know. Honestly, it's been so long watching MTV. I don't even know who's...
Right, you're an MTV OG.
GOG. So I just met Paulie D. Life made, nights done, baby. Okay? So, yeah, this is cool.
I love that. Well, you're such a Jersey girl, right? But Real Housewives of New Jersey, though, there's like going through some changes. There were rumors that they were filming recently. Did you hear about that?
Yes. They're putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, if that makes sense. And I can almost guarantee Jersey fans will not be disappointed. So just hang tight, and I promise you, Jersey will deliver.
Is this confirmation that you're coming back?
No, I said no such thing, but we'll see. You'll all be happy with how Jersey turns out.
Okay, well, we do know that they were kind of trying to get some new people, right? So did you recommend any of your friends?
Yeah, I think when the casting process happens, we always recommend. I'm excited about some of the new faces, and I think it's about time, baby. Okay, so it's going to be a good outcome for sure.
Well, Andy did say that they were close to locking everything down. So do you have an idea? Can you tease like when we can finally see our Jersey girls back on our screens? Like, would it happen in the next year or even like end of this year? Like anything?
I think it's going to happen a lot faster than what you guys think. And I really hope to God it's back to the good old days. Christmas, Halloween, the holidays. So, you know, hang tight. Wait a little longer, I promise.
I love that. That means that camera should be up very, very soon.
According to you guys, they were up already, so you never know.
Well, that was like I saw a test shoot, but it sounds like the season is going to be maybe underway sooner than we know it.
Yeah, that's what happens in this industry. It's wait forever, and then boom, you're up the next day. So it's happening.
I love it. I love it. Well, is there anyone that do you know that is coming back that that you're excited that is coming back, or anything you can say? I'm trying to see who will return.
Yeah, we can't give like that info. To be honest, we don't even know 100%. But I think they're going to get it right this time, and we have a fresh start.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Have so much fun.
Anyway, I'm going to start filing my taxes twice just to see how far I can get without the cameras on me. Why not? But I do want to hear from you guys. I've missed talking to you guys so much. Do you think that Wendy and Eddie are going to go to prison? If so, what do you think the sentencing will be like? Do you think they'll manage to lawyer their way out of this? I'm also curious what you thought of Candiace's comments. Do you think they're being targeted, or do you think it's just a house of cards that was going to collapse regardless? And over in Jersey, I want to know what you think about Teresa's sudden change of heart. Do you think that it's genuine, or do you suspect, like myself, that Bravo's casting department had something to do with it? I'm also wondering how you feel about a Gorga Giudice reconciliation on screen. Do you think you would want to see that, or are we just past the point of no return? So let me know all of your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment, and you know, it's my triumphant return to the internet, so hit the bell and subscribe and all that fun stuff. But mostly comment, because that's my favorite thing to get. I just love talking to you guys and hearing everybody's opinions. So I will be back. If Housewives do anything, it's deliver more stories. So I'll be back, and yeah. Woohoo! We're back. We're so back.